Hey, in this message, I'm going to be talking about the fear and being afraid to leave people behind. And that's what unconsciously is keeping us stuck from having the relationships we want, the life that we truly desire, and creating this magnificent fucking reality that lights us on fire, and to reignite the 4 Ps that I'm going to be talking about when we get back. So I'm going to be diving into my own story on this, as well as how to recognize this fear so that you can begin letting it go and moving forward step by step, creating what you want to fucking create. So don't go nowhere. Hey, welcome back, you awesome fucking weirdos. My name is Tony Fonte. How you doing? I help you reignite the 4 Ps: your passion, your power, your purpose, and your playfulness. Yes! To create deeper connection and intimacy in your life and your relationships. Boom! What's happening? All right, let's dive into the message of being afraid to leave people behind. And that's what's actually keeping us stuck right here in this moment from really moving forward and creating the life that we really truly desire, that lights us up, and the relationships of having really what we want, and how to begin understanding that you're doing that in the first place. Because you might be saying, I'm not fucking afraid to leave people behind. Fuck it. Then why are you stuck? Why do you feel, and there's multiple reasons why we feel stuck, right? And why do you feel overwhelmed and frustrated? Because no matter what you try to do, no matter what you've done, all the personal development, all the healing work, all these things, and you're still in a similar position. You start to move forward and you come back, or you're not consistent in those things. You have some consistency and fall back. Those are all good signs of something's there. You're afraid to lose somebody behind. And there could be other things involved too, but right now I'm only speaking to this layer of the onion of being afraid to leave people behind. And I want to share a couple different stories and different layers of my own that allow me to go, oh shit, I'm afraid to leave people behind. Not just family, but your ancestors even. And I'm going to dive into that awareness that I had too, going, oh, holy shit. Our ancestors, our partners, our family, afraid to leave people behind. And the reason that we actually struggle to really move forward, and it's not a fear of success, it's not even fear of failure, which we often equate to, oh, I have a fear of failure, I have a failure of success. And it's not really those things at all. It's the fear of, who am I going to lose if I step into that? Whether it's fearing we're going to lose ourselves, because we have lost ourselves and we're trying to reclaim our identity. We don't even know who the fuck we are in most cases. A lot of the people I work with, this is what they struggle with. Their identity's outside of them. Whether it's in their kids, whether it's in their partner, whether it's in their relationship, whether it's in their friendships, whether it's in their job or their career or their business, it's outside of them. And because that's what they're used to doing. They're used to putting their identity outside of them. So as we come home, and part of the healing process is to come back home to you, to yourself. And when you start remembering who the fuck you are, it gets scary, because now all that shit's coming up that you've blocked out, that you've pushed away, that you've abandoned. You've abandoned yourself, and now you're being forced to face it. Unconsciously, now all these things start coming up. And you're going, what the fuck? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? Oh shit, I'm dying. I'm fucking dying. And we're in this dark night of the soul where it's this constant shadow work. And each time we go through an inner awakening, we go through the dark night of the soul to continue lessons and to peel back these fucking layers. The reason that you feel stuck, because you're still holding on to people, to things, to ideas outside of you. Afraid that if you let them go, you're going to lose them. Afraid that if you embrace your identity and show the fuck up in your power and reclaiming all that power back, that you're going to lose someone. That hit me hard on a recent coaching call where I was being coached. And one of the coaches was talking about this, and it fucking hit me, and I started crying because that's what I do when I feel these truths and I become aware of the shit that's been holding me back. I'm like, oh my God, I fucking resonate with that. It's not success. It's not failure and the fear of those things. It's who am I going to lose? What am I going to lose? And the reason our identity is in someone else because we are so afraid of abandonment. And if you haven't watched that video yet, go back. I'll have it tagged in here. So you go back and watch that video too. My first awareness of this was when my dad died in 2020. My brother and I were left to deal with, the estate sale and getting the house ready for sale and moving on. And I wanted to move through everything fast. I wanted to get it all done so that I can begin healing and moving forward, because that's how I deal with things. He is more relaxed in that. I remember getting angry with him because he wasn't showing up and he wasn't doing these things. I was getting fucking pissed at him. And we had a brief fucking yelling match at each other because I had a moment. My pot was boiling, my kettle was boiling, and the little popper was up and the steam's coming out, and fucking I had to let it out. But I've done enough work to go, why did I lose control? Why did I react in that way? And of course, I do the work to become aware. And during meditation, it came to me. I felt that he was holding me back. But it had nothing to do with my dad's house and my dad's death. It had everything to do with, I felt he was holding me back from having the life that I wanted, to being myself. Because part of me as a kid said, I can't outshine my brother. I took responsibility for him. I took responsibility for, I can't let go. My ancestors are this way. They've always had this way. Even though I want to break these generational cycles, I can't because I'll lose them. Yeah, we have these fears of losing loved ones who are already transitioned over. All these generational things. What do I lose? Because it's unfamiliar. And I felt that he was holding me back, but it wasn't him holding me back. It was me holding me back, and I was projecting that onto him. Well, I can't outshine him. I can't outdo him. I can't create this life that is greater and better. I got to bring him along with me. And we tend to do this with the people we love, especially when we're on this healing journey. We want to bring them up, so we push it onto them. I want you to experience and feel the same way I feel, so we try to push it and push it and push it. And all that does is push them further away, pissing them off, closing them off from us. They have their own fucking journey, no matter how you believe. They have their own journey. And it's not your responsibility to worry about if they feel outshined or how they feel. It's not your responsibility. How your partner feels is not your responsibility. How they react is not your responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself and how you feel, what lights you up, makes you feel at peace, and creating the life that you desire. Creating a relationship with you to hopefully they come along with you. They see it, they feel it, and they experience it. But it's their choice. And I was like, I've been holding on to this burden. I couldn't create this life, even though I started all these businesses and all these things, because my mom and dad didn't have that either. I remember my mom telling me one time, well, you've changed. Which you'll often hear as you do this work. You've changed. And it's not for the better. It was for the better. They were just comfortable with how I was before. Your partner may say this, your family may say this, and that's actually a good sign that you're actually doing the work and you're moving forward. But if you feel stuck, frustrated, in this loop of not really getting anywhere, or not being where you want, and tired of just continue doing the same fucking thing over and over, and not like you hit the ceiling and your fixture's just smashed up against the ceiling, you can't figure out how to move past that ceiling, that glass ceiling, move through it. Look at the people in your life. Am I taking responsibility unconsciously of their well-being, of wanting them to come along with me, afraid to lose them? If I let go of all this ancestral shit, what does that mean? Does that mean that I leave them behind and I forget them? No. You don't forget them. But you're free. You're free to create and not feel bad whether they're there or not with you. You can create the finances that you desire. You can create the healthy relationships that you desire. You can create the business and the life that you fucking desire, the lifestyle. And not feel shame or guilt. We hold on to the shame and guilt. It's like, well, I can't do this because they're here. And it's not your responsibility. Let that shit go. Elsa, let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Yeah, yep, I know that song. Can you tell I have a kid? She's almost 18 now, but still. Afraid to leave people behind. That was the first awareness I had. And I'm like, God damn, bro. I'm sorry that I put that burden on you. It had nothing to do with you. Didn't tell him this physically. Actually, I think recently I did share a little bit of that with him. But we don't have to share that. Especially the loved ones who were passed on anyway, our ancestors. Just, they're wanting you to fucking break this shit anyway. They're cheering you on, waiting for you to actually do it. You were here to create something new, so you got to let go of the old, but you can't let go of the old if you're fucking clinging to it. Does that make sense? The second awareness I had, I was doing more deeper work. Like I said, when I was on this coaching call, afraid to leave people behind. And one of the coaches said it. When they were struggling to move forward and they finally had this click and this awareness that they're afraid. It's like when he said, you're not afraid of success. You're not afraid of failure. The biggest fear is who you're going to lose and what you're going to lose if you do that. And you're afraid we're going to lose all this stuff. We're afraid we're going to lose money. We're going to lose friends. We're going to lose family. We're going to lose our partner. And guess what? Some of that you may, but you're not really losing. They're just not on an energetic timeline with you. You're moved along. It doesn't mean you're losing them. They just weren't meant to carry on that journey with you in this next phase, on this next timeline. I've had friends leave. I've left friends. I mean, it happens. You're not losing. But the more that you give into that than you are to what you fucking really feel within and what you really desire within, you are losing yourself more and more. And you're not losing it. You're just fucking forgetting it. Because you continue to put the identity outside and you're holding on to these people, wanting them to come with you, whether it's your partner. And I've seen this many times, and people are holding on, they're wanting their partner to come along with them because they love them. And then they create this bitterness towards them. Because it's like, you're holding me back. And they ain't doing shit. It's you. Because you're choosing to stay back because you want them to fucking come with you. Thinking, well, maybe if I stay here and I continue doing the work here and just being on the hamster wheel, they'll fucking get it and they'll come along with me. But meanwhile, you are still fucking building this resentment and this bitterness up towards them because they're not. And it's the bitterness and resentment towards your fucking self because you aren't doing it. And I've said this many times to friends and people that I'm working with and coaching. Or I'm doing an intuitive energy healing and reading session with them. And a message is coming through. Let them go. Move forward. And what I found, and oftentimes, the most times that as you let them go and you move forward, they'll shift. And they'll come along with you. But you got to be okay with maybe they won't. And sitting with that fear of maybe they won't. Maybe I do lose family. Does that mean I'm going to be alone, which is a fear? It's like I'm going to lose everything, lose everyone. What if I come into money and I actually create this new financial realm? What does that mean? Do I lose family? Do I lose people? Will I lose myself if I have those things? If I have more money, if I'm able to travel when I fucking want and create the experiences that I want, if I have this awesome fucking business, that was one of my fears. If I create this awesome fucking business, part of it was, I don't know how, but it was really, what happens when I do? What will I lose? Because I was afraid of fucking up, because I thought as a kid I'd fuck everything up. I'm gonna fuck it up and I'm gonna lose it all. So I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna still try to work and spin the wheels of creating something, but I won't allow myself to really create it and allow it and manifest it and attract it by being and doing, because I don't want to lose it. I don't want to create this healthy relationship because I'm gonna lose something. I don't know what that fucking means. Even though I want it. I crave it. But I wasn't allowing myself. I was stiff-arming the shit out of it. And really what it boils down to is we're afraid to lose ourselves in all of it. Because we've abandoned ourselves in the first place. It's about becoming aware of all of that. Aware of those awarenesses that you may be holding on to other people, to the stories of the past, to all the ancestral shit and beliefs about money, relationships, life, business, career, and letting them all go. Coming back home to you and creating what the fuck you want, and realizing, giving yourself permission to say, hey, they're on their own. They have the opportunity to join me, and I hope they do join me. But okay, if they don't, of course, if they don't, there's going to be a grieving process, and that's okay too. But letting go of the fucking heaviness of thinking you're responsible for bringing all that with you. And what that means if you move forward and you let go of all that, what happens? What you do is you let that all go, you're opening up to receive, but by holding on to it, you're actually blocking it from flowing to you. If it's not them, if it's not that, it's going to be something better. But you got to be able to get out of your own way. Be okay with letting things go. You can't lose what is meant for you. Who is meant for you? And it'll come in the perfect timing. And maybe for a moment you do lose it. They leave or whatever. But it can come back around. If not, you'll create new family. You'll attract new people into your life. Based on the energetic frequency you were at in that moment, you create more. You'll create what you're meant to have. But you got to be firm within yourself and continuously moving towards that. All right, I'd love to hear from you. Love to know what resonated with you, what stood out to you, and if you would love help and guidance and support on being able to be okay with letting others go and not being responsible for them, and letting yourself be yourself, reclaiming your power and creating this newness, these new opportunities, these new relationships, this new life, these new generational cycles that are healthy. There are many ways you can work together, whether it's paid or free. I'll have the links below. You feel what resonates with you, and I will see you on the next episode of the Laughing Through Life show. Peace.